The story of Remus Lupin begins with the unexpected encounter between his parents. His mother, who worked at an insurance company in Cardiff in the late 1950s, decided one day to explore a dense forest. During her walk, she encountered a boggart, which took the form of a threatening and frightening man, causing her great terror. Lyle Lupin, a respected wizard and an expert in non-human spirit apparitions, heard her cries for help and quickly intervened. With a skillful flick of his wand, he transformed the boggart into mere mushrooms. The woman, unaware that Lyle was a wizard, was both confused and impressed by what had happened. Concerned for her safety, Lyle escorted her back to safety. This unexpected event sparked a relationship that quickly blossomed, bridging two completely different worlds. Years later, in 1960, Remus Lupin was born, a happy, healthy, and curious boy who began to show magical abilities from a very young age. His parents were proud to see that he too was a wizard. However, when Remus was just 4 years old, Voldemort was already on the rise, and the Ministry of Magic began recruiting talented wizards for various magical roles. Naturally, Lyle Lupin was among those chosen. At one point, Lyle became involved in a case that would change his family's life forever. He participated in the interrogation of Fenrir Greyback, accused of murdering 2 Muggle children. At that time, Fenrir was not yet on the Ministry's official werewolf registry and managed to deceive the wizards, claiming to be just a beggar wrongly accused. Many believed him, but Lyle remained suspicious. Lyle suggested that Fenrir should be held until the next full moon to confirm whether he was indeed a werewolf. However, other Ministry wizards ignored his recommendation, claiming his specialty in magical creatures did not include werewolves. Frustrated and angry, Lyle lost control, stating that werewolves were soulless creatures deserving only death. Fenrir listened to these words in silence, but with a calculating gaze. Despite Lyle's warnings, Fenrir was released, and the Ministry wizards planned to erase his memories before letting him go. However, outside the Ministry, 2 other werewolves were waiting to prevent this from happening. They attacked the responsible wizards, allowing Fenrir to escape with his memories intact. Furious at Lyle Lupin's words about werewolves, Fenrir told others what he had heard. He planned his revenge and waited for the right moment. When Remus Lupin was about to turn 5, on a full moon night, Fenrir hid nearby. Seizing a moment of carelessness, he transformed into a werewolf and invaded Remus's bedroom through the window, attempting to attack him. Fortunately, Remus's father entered the room in time to prevent the worst from happening. However, despite being saved, Remus was bitten and infected with lycanthropy. From that moment, Remus Lupin's life changed dramatically. His parents did everything to keep his secret, locking him in his room on full moon nights and using spells to muffle the sounds. Initially, it was easier to control the transformation since he was still small, but as years passed, the situation became more difficult. The family had to move frequently to avoid drawing attention, and Remus was isolated from other children, as his parents feared he might reveal his secret. When Remus turned 10, the transformations became more intense and harder to control. He could break doors, windows, and other objects during full moon nights. His family, with limited resources to deal with this, accepted that he could never attend Hogwarts, the dream school for any young wizard. However, everything changed when he turned 11. On Remus's 11th birthday, none other than Albus Dumbledore visited the Lupin household. Lyle and his wife hesitated to receive him, trying to send him away, but when they turned around, Dumbledore was already inside, talking to young Remus and playing with him. The headmaster explained that with special precautions, it would be perfectly possible for Lupin to study at Hogwarts. He revealed that he already knew about Remus, as Fenrir Greyback boasted about his attack, and Dumbledore had spies all over the wizarding world. Initially, Remus's parents were hesitant, but they realized this was the best chance for their son. they trusted Dumbledore, the most powerful wizard who ever lived, and agreed. To ensure everyone's safety, Dumbledore had the Whomping Willow planted and built the Shrieking Shack, where Remus could take refuge during his transformations. Upon entering Hogwarts, Remus made friends for the first time in his life. He quickly bonded with James Potter and Sirius Black, who appreciated his kindness and sense of humor. Additionally, Remus welcomed Peter Pettigrew, who was shy and seemed defenseless, thus forming the group known as the Marauders. Their friendship grew rapidly, and together they did extraordinary things during their school years. However, Remus did not approve of the bullying his friends inflicted on Severus Snape. Yet because he loved his friends and they were the only ones who accepted him as he was, Remus never managed to confront them firmly. Over time, James, Sirius and Peter noticed Remus's disappearances on full moon nights and his tired appearance upon returning. Upon investigation, they discovered the truth about his lycanthropy, but instead of pushing him away, they decided to accept and help him. They had a brilliant idea to become animagi. This way they could accompany Remus during his transformations, as werewolves do not attack animals. The group spent 3 years training hard until, in their 5th year, they successfully completed their transformations. James turned into a stag, Sirius into a large black dog, and Peter into a rat. This allowed them to accompany Remus on full moon nights, helping him maintain control and strengthening their friendship further. With the success of this plan, the Marauders began planning new adventures at Hogwarts, cementing their reputation as one of the school's most legendary groups. Remus Lupin had a life marked by challenges and overcoming adversity, which began very early on. When Remus was about to turn 5, a tragedy changed his life forever. Fenrir Greyback, known for his cruelty and thirst for revenge, learned of Lyle Lupin's contempt for werewolves. On a full moon night, Fenrir transformed and attacked Remus, invading his room. Despite Lyle's heroic efforts to protect his son, the attack left Remus infected with lycanthropy. From that moment on, Remus's life was filled with secrets and isolation. His parents kept him locked up on full moon nights, using spells to muffle the sounds of his transformations. As a child, this was easier to manage, but as time passed, controlling the young werewolf became an increasingly difficult task. Remus grew up moving from house to house without friends or social interaction, as his parents feared he might reveal his condition to someone. When he turned 10, his transformations were so violent that he could destroy doors and windows. The Lupins had lost hope that he could attend Hogwarts until, on his 11th birthday, Albus Dumbledore made an unexpected visit. Despite initial resistance from Remus's parents, Dumbledore convinced them that the boy could study at Hogwarts with the necessary precautions. For this, the headmaster planted the Whomping Willow and built the Shrieking Shack, a safe refuge for full moon nights. Upon enrolling at Hogwarts, Remus made friends who would change his life: James Potter, Sirius Black, and Peter Pettigrew. Together they formed the Marauders, known for their adventures and pranks. James and Sirius soon noticed that Remus disappeared on full moon nights, and upon discovering his condition, they accepted him without hesitation. To help their friend, the three became animagi after 3 years of attempts. James transformed into a stag, Sirius into a giant dog, and Peter into a rat, allowing them to accompany Remus during his transformations safely. Moreover, the Marauders created the legendary Marauders map, exploring every corner of Hogwarts and discovering secret passages. Remus experienced moments of joy and camaraderie during these years, although he never had the courage to confront his friends about their bullying of Severus Snape, something he disapproved of. After graduating, Remus joined the Order of the Phoenix, fighting against Voldemort's forces during the First Wizarding War. However, he faced a challenging professional life due to prejudice against werewolves, being rejected from many jobs. tragedy struck again with Peter Pettigrew's betrayal, which led to the deaths of James and Lily Potter and the imprisonment of Sirius Black. The loss of his friends and his mother left Remus bitter and isolated. 12 years later, Remus received an invitation from Dumbledore to teach defense against the dark arts at Hogwarts. Teaching brought new life to Remus, especially with Harry Potter, his friend James's son, as his student. He quickly stood out as one of the best teachers Hogwarts ever had, teaching not only spells but also values like courage, understanding, and empathy. Remus Lupin was much more than an excellent teacher. He was an example of resilience and overcoming, inspiring those around him with his kindness and courage, despite a life marked by prejudice and difficulties. However, not everything was easy for Remus Lupin. Thanks to the Marauder's map, he realized something that would change everything. Peter Pettigrew was alive. The truth was that Peter had faked his death years before, meaning Sirius Black was innocent. Unfortunately, this discovery happened on a full moon night. Transformed into a werewolf, Lupin lost control, allowing Peter to escape once again. As a result, Sirius was also recaptured. That year, Sirius had escaped from Azkaban to seek revenge on Peter and to protect him from further harm. He discovered the truth after seeing a picture of Peter, disguised as a rat, beside Ron Weasley. Despite his efforts, Sirius was captured at Hogwarts and awaited the terrible Dementor's kiss. However, with Dumbledore's help and Hermione's time-turner, Harry and Hermione managed to free Sirius. Later, Severus Snape revealed to the magical community that Lupin was a werewolf, forcing him to resign from his teaching position at Hogwarts. Although this was a hard blow, Lupin found comfort in his renewed friendship with Harry and in the hope for a better future. When Voldemort returned to power, Lupin rejoined the Order of the Phoenix. He reconnected with friends and, though happy to be part of this fight, suffered a devastating loss when Sirius Black died during a battle at the Ministry of Magic, struck by Bellatrix Lestrange. Despite everything, Lupin continued to contribute to the cause, always by Harry's side. During this period, he found love again with Nymphadora Tonks, a witch from the Order. Later, they discovered Tonks was pregnant, which brought a mix of joy and concern for Lupin. He feared his werewolf side might affect his child. In a moment of doubt, Lupin offered his help to Harry in the search for the Horcruxes, but was confronted by the young man, who encouraged him to return to his family and protect them. This confrontation gave Lupin the strength to focus on what truly mattered. With the birth of his son, Teddy Lupin, a new chapter began. The boy, a metamorphmagus like his mother, was named after Tonks's father, who had died fighting in the Second Wizarding War. However, Lupin and Tonks's fate was sealed during the Battle of Hogwarts on May 2nd, 1998. Both died fighting bravely against the Death Eaters. Lupin was killed by Dolohov, while Tonks faced her aunt, Bellatrix Lestrange, in a duel that ended tragically. The sacrifice of Lupin and Tonks left a deep mark on the magical world. They will be remembered for their courage, kindness, and determination to fight for a better world. Despite the adversities, Lupin lived a life of meaning and left a legacy that continues through his son, Teddy. Raised by his grandmother, Andromeda, and guided by his godfather, Harry Potter, Teddy represents the memory and values of his parents, inspiring future generations to believe in compassion, acceptance, and the fight for a more just world.